so today we're doing volume of a prism. The volume of a prism formula is V equals AH. I always use capital letters for this formula so we don't get mixed up with what we're doing. Sometimes we end up with a couple of H's, we need them to be little h's and capital H's. So write it in capital letters. A stands for the area of the base shape and H stands for the perpendicular height of the prism. Now the perpendicular height of the prism comes away from the base shape. So if your base shape is at the front, the perpendicular height will come away from that. Okay? If your base shape is up here, the perpendicular height will come away from it. Alright, so now we're doing the volume of a cylinder formula, and a cylinder is just a circular prism. It's got a circular base, and for some reason, probably because we use a lot of them, they've got a special name, a cylinder. So the formula V equals AH, all we need to do is take the A, the capital A, which is the area of the base shape, and because the base shape is a circle, we put pi r squared in that spot. Alright, so the area formula for the base shape that we're using goes in place of A. So we already know that R stands for the radius, and we already know from up here that the capital H is the perpendicular height of the prism. So it's a perpendicular height of the cylinder in that case. Okay, now we're finding volumes here. So the volume formula, we're always going to start with V equals AH. Even if you think you know the formula, let's just write it every time. In place of A, we're going to put the area of the base shape. Now our base shape at the moment is a rectangle. Okay, so we're going to put A equals LB in that spot. Now we can put in our length of our rectangle times our breadth of our rectangle, which is 2.5, times, now the height, remember, is coming away from the rectangle. So that's my height. So I'm going to put a 4 in for the height. And if you put that in your calculator, you'll get 50, and volume is measured in cubic units, so it's metres cubed. All right, with the cylinder, we're starting with our formula V equals AH. Now, in this particular case, they have given you the area of that base shape, so you don't need to work that out. So we're just going to put the A straight in here for A. Then we're going to times by the height of the prism, which comes away from your base shape. So your height is 8. And if you put that in your calculator, you get 504.8 metres cubed for volume. All right, these ones over here, we're doing volume correct to the nearest whole number. So we're starting with V equals AH. Our area of our base shape, our base is a circle, so we want the area of pi r squared put in place there. So now we have another formula, pi r squared h. So we're going to write pi times, the radius is 8 squared times, and the height coming away from your base shape is 15. If we put it in the calculator, we're going to get that decimal, but we're rounding to the nearest whole number here. So that's where your whole number part ends. Because of the 9, we're going to go up by 1 in front of that to a 6. And then we write on the end centimetres and cubed. All right, next question. So we're looking at this cylinder here. Start with V equals AH because we know the cylinder is a prism. In place of A, you're going to put the area of a circle formula, which is pi r squared, and the H is still on that end. Now we're subbing in, so it's pi times. Now the radius, they've given you the diameter of 12 there, so our radius will be 12 divided by 2, which is 6. So we're going to put that 6 in there now for the radius, squared times. The height comes away from your circle, that's 35. And if you put it in your calculator, you're going to get that answer there, 3,958 point whatever. We're rounding to the nearest whole number. So draw a line at the end of the whole number. And because we are less than 5 here, we're going to keep this as an 8. So here's our answer. And we're in millimetres this time, so it's millimetres cubed. Okay, looking at the next one. So this next one is a triangular prism. So our base shape here is a triangle. So in place of A this time, we're going to put the area of a triangle formula, which is a half BH. It's going in the place of A. Then we've still got our capital H on the end. So now you know why I'm using capital letters, because I don't want you getting mixed up with those H's. Alright, so now we have a half times. Now, you're only looking at the triangular base for these two bits. So we've got to find our base and our perpendicular height of our triangle here. So look for your right angle, and our base and our perpendicular height go around that right angle. So I can say the base is 1.8 and the perpendicular height is 2.4 for that triangle. Okay, it's got nothing to do with this 3 here. Just put in there to put you off. All right, now the perpendicular height of the prism comes